What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch video, and today we are taking a look at the ZELOS Hammerhead version 2. So I am going to go through what I like about this watch, what I don't like about this watch, and I'll be honest with you right off the bat, there is not much I don't like about this watch, but just getting right into it, the overall fit and finish are way better than anything that I've seen from the brand. ZELOS has really stepped up their game. The machining and tolerances are way higher, and you could see it throughout the watch, throughout the bracelet, the case back, and the buckle. It is a step above their best, and this is definitely currently their best watch. The dial looks great. This is the black sand version, so we have the black sand dial, and you can see the dial has like a pebbling, a leather look, and it looks great. You have a really nice chunky chapter ring, which is also lumed. There's a ton of lume on this watch. There's a mixture of C3, BGW9 on the dial and hands, and indices. You have also that mixture on the ceramic bezel, which, by the way, is finished way better than any other ZELOS that I've seen. 120 click bezel. Sounds absolutely amazing. We have a signed crown, of course, signed ZELOS. All of the lettering is very crisp, and it has that yellow lume. It just looks really, really good, and it really stands out against that black. It's a really good contrast. I think in general, really good decisions that were made on this watch. The hands look great. That yellow seconds hand looks phenomenal, and it matches all the lume, which is excellent, obviously. The clasp is tight. No issues getting it on and off my wrist. And it sits flat. I had a problem with my other ZELOS where it did not. This does. There are no sharp edges. And the scissor is really big. I can get it right on my wrist. My wrist, which is 7.5 inches. And it just sounds like the clicking of a gun when you close it. It really is good. The tolerances are very, very good and very tight. Including the case back on this, you could see that they've gone the extra mile to really finish the case back. They've done a little bit of a different finishing on it, so it's more of a matted finish. It's not sharp. It looks good. It feels good when you touch it. It feels like, you know, as it should. It looks really, really good. On previous versions, I felt like this could have been a file, and it was like you could file your nails down on it. This is perfect. I mean, it really just is soft and feels nice. The bracelet is really nicely finished. It's just, you know, it's sort of like a president's looking bracelet, you know, like a Rolex president's bracelet. You have screwed in links, some micro adjust here on the clasp. It fits really, really nicely, and it's very, very comfortable. The case has some nice finishing on it. You know, you have some sandblasting and you have some brushing. Here's the helium escape valve. That wasn't there on the previous versions. So overall, this is an improved version of the Hammerhead. As you can see, it is pretty much overall has a lot of different improvements made across the whole thing. 44 millimeters across, 22 millimeter lug width. So the only thing I would say is that it doesn't taper. So this would be one of the only complaints that I have. There is no taper in the bracelet. So it is a very, very heavy, very, very chunky watch. And when you put it on your wrist, it is extremely, extremely chunky. That 17 millimeters does sit down on your wrist pretty well, as you can see. But it doesn't wear like a 44 millimeter watch because it is a 48 millimeter lug to lug, so it is a little bit compact compared to the 44 millimeter width. So it doesn't wear huge, and I have another watch that we can compare it to in just a moment. 17 millimeters thick, 15 if you don't include the double dome sapphire crystal. You have a Seiko NH35 automatic, which is the standard here. This is the entry-level Hammerhead, essentially. This came in at $369. And I honestly think this is an absolute steal at that price. You have a color matched date at 6 o'clock. You'll barely even notice it. It really, really looks great and it blends in very, very well. They also have the ETA 2892 option, I think, and it comes with a display back. We have 1,000 meters water resistance, which is great. I don't think I need it. They could have made it 300 meters water resistance and made it a little bit thinner. I've said that a few times, but overall, it's a great watch, and there's not much that you could complain about. So, what I don't like I said, it's thick. It's not incredibly thick. It does sit down on the wrist pretty well. But like I said, if it was not 1,000 meters water resistant, maybe it was 300, I would like it just as much. If it was a little bit thinner, it would be great. Although the bracelet feels great, the integration into the case is still not 100%. As you can see, there's some finishing differences, and it doesn't move. However, it just doesn't look completely flush. I could live with it. It doesn't really bother me. It looks great, and it looks really good on the strap. I've seen it on the strap. I haven't even put it on the strap because I've been enjoying the bracelet so much. It is fantastic. And, you know, where the bracelet and the clasp meet is the only other real problem, I would say. And I think this may not affect everyone, but you can see how it sort of squares off on my wrist where the bracelet actually meets the clasp. If you could see that, there's like it sort of just squares off. There's an angle there. Again, nothing you would really notice. It's nothing big at all. I think it's only reason why that happens is because this link, as you can see here, doesn't articulate. It doesn't move. It doesn't articulate. It only moves up. Does not move down. So what happens is it just sort of falls. But you can see the whole watch falls down. The bracelet just falls down. That's another reason why it wears so small compared to its dimensions. And then on the other side, when you have the clasp closed, you know, the scissor also goes way beyond the actual clasp, and that's why it sits there. So if this clasp was longer, you wouldn't even really notice it, but that's the reason why. Honestly, I don't think it's anything that should be fixed. I think it works perfectly fine. I don't know if anybody else is going to have an issue with that. For me, I have a 7.5-inch wrist. Not really an issue. I've been wearing it, and it doesn't make it uncomfortable. It's actually a very comfortable watch. It's a very heavy watch, but it's very comfortable. And then the last thing, the last nitpick I would say, is the sandblasting that's on the top of the case, and then the brushing. It's kind of weird. I don't know why. There's like a line here that the sandblasting starts, and then it's brushed here and then brushed on the below. I think you should just brush the whole side or sandblast the whole side. It doesn't really do that much for the watch. Maybe if it was polished below, I don't know. It's a rugged watch, and the finishes are fine. I think again, the overall finish of the watch is incredible compared to previous versions that I've held. And in general, I think they've done an excellent job with this watch. They've really gone out of their way, ZELOS and Elshan, who's the owner of ZELOS, to really put together I would say a fantastic watch, and especially great value. And really, I'm going to pick up a pretty incredible watch right here and compare the two watches in size. So, on the right, we have an AP diver, and this is the Royal Oak offshore diver, which comes in at 42 millimeters, and there's the ZELOS right next to it, which is 44 millimeters. Tell me which one you think is bigger. I think with all the crown guards and the big helium escape, the rotating bezel knob here, the AP looks bigger, and it also has lugs that are integrated, so it doesn't fall flat. So when I hold it up, you could see that the ZELOS actually looks smaller than the AP, and the AP is definitely a smaller watch in millimeters width, and it's crazy. And thickness-wise, you could see that the ZELOS is thicker. However, it does have 1,000 meters water resistance, where the AP is only 300. But other than that, I mean, you could see like the bracelet. These are very chunky watches, and this is where I was saying the watch should taper a little bit. It would be a little bit more elegant, like the AP. However, that is just my suggestion. Some people like this thicker bracelet, 22 millimeters all the way across. It's really nice. I really love the bracelet. But like I said, it would give it a little bit of a different look, a little bit more of an elegant diver with that slightly tapered bracelet. Anyway, tell me what you think of this watch. I am obviously smitten by it. I really, really love it. This is the best watch that I have seen from ZELOS. The Mako version 3 is coming out, which is a 40 millimeter dive watch. I believe it is only 500 meters, but I know Elshan said that he is putting a Miyota movement into it, and it will be thinner, significantly thinner than the previous Mako, and I'm very excited about that. Guys, check that out. It hasn't even hit the website yet. If you are in the ZELOS Timekeepers Facebook group, that's where I got that information. And Elshan always does hook up his members of that group, lets them know when things are dropping way ahead of time. I'm going to get that watch, definitely. I'm going to get it with the Meteorite dial, and I have a feeling I'm going to love that watch too, but we'll see. Anyway, like I said, please drop a comment below. It is much appreciated, very helpful, and thank you for logging on. Okay, and there is the Lume shot. You can see it is very, very bright, very clear, and you can see the Lume crown there. Very crisp, looks really bright, and very legible. Thanks for logging on.